Welcome back, all my 40k fanatics out there. Another video for my cronies. Today's battle report, I'm going to continue on with the Armies of Renown for Necrons and do the Cult of Cryptek. My buddy Lane, last minute, was able to get back over here and bring his Votann, so it's a very similar test to the last Army of Renown that didn't go so well. So, but your Votann's a little, you changed it up a bit.
I just tweaked a little bit. Basically, we're just trying to find out if 18 of the jet bikes is too many jet bikes. I don't think it is, but that's what we're trying. So
I think this is where we get to the point of the competitive lock-in. Like, this is what you may see out of the highest tier of Votann, because those bikes being objective secured are really, really good. And they put out a lot of damage. So there could be a lot to see there. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today, we're here to talk about spiders. Spiders.
Oh, man.
Spiders.
Had to be spiders.
All right, guys. Thank you again for tuning into the channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please do turn on the bell for notification to get notified on more videos such as this one and other faction-focused videos. There should be eventually, hopefully, my Patreon link's working, as I just recently found out it's actually not connected. I'm going to try and link it into the description of this video. And I think I covered all that except for the armies.
Let's go.
So let's go. Yep, let's talk about your Votann first.
All right, so I have a Leagues of Votann Ymir Conglomerate army today. Ymir Conglomerate, for a lot of folks that are trying to play Votann competitive, this is what people are most often taking, although there are some other interesting options. But all it means is that, first of all, everything in the army gets at least a 5-up invuln save. If it has a 2-up armor save, like the Hearthguard, the little Terminator guys, or the Hecaton land fortresses, which have 2-up armor, they actually get 4-up invulns. So it's 5-up invuln and everything, 4-up on the 2-up armor stuff. In addition to that, all the guns get an extra 4 inches of range. And anytime I shoot at something with a judgment token on it, if it's within half range, then I get extra AP, 1 extra AP on all the guns that are shooting. So today it's an Arcs of Omen detachment. My compulsory choice is fast attack. So I've got 3 big 6-man bike squads. These are the Hearthkin Pioneers. The bikes have a 12-inch pregame move, 12-inch regular move. They are OBSEC, and they put out just a ton of shots. They're core, so they get the Chapter Master rerolls for my high call. You've seen them before. They've got all the upgrades. They're ready to go. For every 6 bikes, there's 2 of the rotary cannons on those as well. For my HQs, I've got a high call. That's an upgraded call. And her Warlord trait lets her give out 2 judgment tokens in the command phase to 2 different units that you can see. And because she's an upgrade to the high call, she actually can give 1 core unit full rerolls to hit for a full battle round, kind of like a Space Marine Chapter Master. My other HQ is the Forge Master. That's the upgraded Iron Master. He's the little tech marine guy that's got his robot buddies with him. He does a couple different things. He gives 1 core or vehicle unit plus 1 to hit and shooting. He gives that out during the command phase. He can heal a vehicle for flat 4 as long as he's got his well, at least one of his robot buddies with him. He also can zero out 1 failed armor save per battle round for a vehicle that's within 6 inches of him. I get to choose which one that is. And he also makes 1 war gear strat cost 1 less CP once per battle round. And he's got a pretty decent gun in close combat attack as well. We've got 2 elite choices. One is the Berserks. Today, because I had a couple extra points, we're throwing in the Berserk with the grenade launcher. But these guys just put out a ton of attacks in the fight phase. We've also got a 5-man squad of the Einherjar Hearthguard. These are the little baby Terminators. The gun that they have the Vulcanite Disintegrator. Each one puts out 3 shots, but 6s to hit, not to wound. 6s to hit generate a mortal, although that's not a mortal in addition to regular damage. And they also have a grenade launcher. Each one puts out D6, strength 4, AP 1 shots as well, and they have a plasma blade. So each guy gets 3 swings, strength 6, AP 3, but only 1 damage. And then, of course, we got the 2 big Hecaton land fortresses. Both of these have the auto cannon, the bolt cannons all around. One has a Magna Rail, the heavy Magna Rail, and one has the SP conversion beamer. That's the only beam weapon I have in the army. And that is it for the Votann. DJ, why don't you tell us what you got?
Thank you, Lane. Over here to the Necrons, we have... I'm still running my typical Novak Dynasty with this Cult of Cryptek, even though I do not get the bonus Dynasty trait. I still do get access to the 1 CP strat for +1 attack, as well as the Hungry Void. I will get both directives since I still use the regular command protocols with this cult. So I'll be able to get +1 strength on the charge, and 6s to wound are additional AP1. So what I get for the call to Cryptek? Well, I get to reroll 1s for reanimation protocols. That'll be real interesting to see on Scarabs, to see if I can get a couple more back, some extra ones. That's the Necron warrior rule. And the entire army just gets an inherent +1 attack. I also get access to a bunch of different stratagems that I'll try and talk about when I use them across the course of the game. So moving into the army, first my HQs. I have 2 Chronomancers. One of them, the guy with the staff, the scythe up in the air, is going to have the Codifier of Lesser Beings. So in the command phase, you can select 1 unit within 6 inches of him and an enemy unit that's visible. If the unit I selected makes an attack against the unit that I can see, they get +1 to wound. Then the other Chronomancer just has the 5-up invuln and reroll failed charges, which both of them can dish out in the command phase. I'm bringing a Psychomancer because I had 65 points, needed 1 more Cryptek for what I'm trying to do with this list, and he was a cheap one, a cool-looking model, and is mostly just going to hang out in the backfield. I did give him the Auto Divinator, so he will be able to give me a additional CP at the beginning of the command phase on a 5-up. I had 20 points left over, so I figured why not try and get CP out of it. Then the last one is my Warlord, the Technomancer. He will have the failsafe overcharger for bonus attacks on Canoptic units, the control node to give him an aura for +1 to hit, and his Warlord trait will also let him select a unit within 9 inches and give them +1 to hit. He also has the Relic Veil, because never leave home without it. Into troops, I have 2 10-man squads of warriors with Gauze Flayers. They're my only objective secured to get me some quicker ancient machineries. They're going to start the game in strategic. 3 9-mans of Scarabs, because I love Scarabs, and this is a Canoptic build. 2 squads of Wraiths. One's a 5-man with Claws, and one is a 4-man with Whip Coils. In this dynasty, I have a stratagem for 1 CP that allows the Wraiths to fight on death. And with all the other buffs, I think they're going to be really, really vicious out of this dynasty. 3x3 Canoptic Spiders. I have 9 spiders. I'm allowed to run 9 spiders. I will run 9 spiders. All of them have particle beamers, and we're going to have fun with these guys. There's a lot of cool strats that interact with them. And the last and final piece of the list, I had to find some more terrain for us today because I'm bringing the Convergence of Dominion. A lot of talk on the internet with these guys and being able to play engage on all fronts. I think it's a very cool tactic, kind of interesting. I'd like to test it out before I give my opinion on it. So today, spoiler alert, I'm going to be doing engage on all fronts, and I brought the Convergence of Dominion.
All right, so today we are playing Data Scry Salvage. This is mission 13 out of the Arcs of Omen Grand Tournament Strike Force book. We've got hold 2 objectives, hold 3 objectives, or hold more objectives for our primary. For our bonus primary, this is the one where you need to have any unit do an action on your deployment zone objective, and you score the number of points equal to the number of objectives you hold at the end of your turn out in no man's land. In addition, there are sticky objectives on this one, so if you hold an objective through your command phase with an OBSEC unit, then move off of it, you still control it until your opponent actually gets onto it.
I don't know if anyone can tell, but I'm actually really excited to play this army.
He's all worked up.
I am so worked up. I'm so excited to play it. These are some of my favorite units in the Necron armies. I've always loved the spiders, the scarabs, the rebuilding. I mean, since the Codex has come out and since you've known me, every one of my Necron lists has scarabs, and like I try and fit a spider in there somehow, some way. I'm like, I could have taken 20 warriors, but I cut it down to 16, so I have points for a spider. Like, they're always in every list, pretty much.
And he got some metal ones, too, so I'm always happy to see metal models on the table.
I do. We have 6 of the original Tomb Spiders from back in the day. So what do you think? What do you think of the army? What's your first impression on it?
It's weird, man. You're on a weird list. I'm just going to try and kill all of it as quick as I can.
It is a very weird list. I have some really cool tricks up my sleeve. We're going to see what we can have happen here.
Yeah.
You know the drill. Table's even. So who's going to deploy first? Odd or even, my friend?
Odd. Oh,
And it is odd, so I guess I'm going to be deploying first, and we'll be back after deployments. Both armies are deployed. So with the Necrons, I went really super defensive. I took hold of this piece of terrain and put spiders in the front, followed by a layer of scarabs. Sounds like it's like I'm making like a meat pie over here. It's like first you have a
trifle.
Yeah, a trifle. That was it. I have a layer of spiders, followed by a hint of technomancer. Then your next layer is scarabs, finished off with a layer of wraiths, and we're gonna cover the bottom with a couple of other Crypteks, the 2 chronomancers and the plasma lancer. Spiders in the backfield, spiders behind a wall. We checked to see line of sight for the Hecaton, which we'll talk about in a second, and the convergence block the line of sight going right to the spiders. So I have built myself a nice little wall to protect them for the first turn. And scarabs are chained up to either reanimate forward on death or still be in range to get a scarab back from the spiders in my command phase. The secondaries that I'm going to be playing off this army are Engage on All Fronts, Ancient Machineries, and Treasure of Aeons. Treasure of Aeons on this map has been selected to be 4, 2, and 6. 6 back there in the corner. So the ones that are all technically furthest from me and right in the open where I can be shot at. Now over to Lane.
Yeah, or I put 2 squads of the Pioneers into reserve. The Berserks are in this Hecaton with the SP conversion beamer on it. And then didn't have a whole lot else to put out here, but I'm kind of ready to move forward and get a few shots off. It's going to be very important that I start killing things early and then keep killing things. So I need to position my Hecaton so they can get some shots in. Yeah, that's about it. As a reminder, these Hearthguard have a 12-inch deep strike deny bubble because of the warp strike relic they have on them. So they do deny deep strike. And I think that's about it. My secondaries, after being, I don't know, reprimanded by DJ, I'm not taking Assassinate.
It's not a good call. It's not a good call.
Well, neither is Raise the Banners. I can't get onto them. So, anyways, I will taking Raise the Banners. I'm taking Lay Claim. That's the Votann one where I put out my opponent puts out objective markers that I have to control at the end of the game. 5 points for each one I control at the end of the game. And then no prisoners because there are many prisoners and I want none of them. So there will be, I think we added up, there's at least 150 wounds.
Or there's 100 H's in the scarabs by themselves.
Yeah, so with reanimation, it should be no problem. By turn 2, I'll probably have that maxed out, so we'll see. But yeah, that's what I took.
So once again, reserves, I have a squad of scarabs that are going to be in deep strike. I spent a command for a cult of Cryptek stratagem lets me do so. And then I'm putting the 2 10-man warriors in reserve. And Lane, what did you say you had again?
I got 2 of the 6-man jet bike squads, the Pioneers, in reserve. And then, like I said, the Berserks are in the Hecaton with the conversion beamer.
All right, so it looks like all that's left for us to do is see who's going first. So, you want to go first or second?
I think I could probably go either way. Second, sometimes better with Lay Claim because I have to hold them at the end of the game. And if I go first, though, I think I can probably pick up a squad of scarabs and maybe one of those Convergence to Dominion doohickeys too. So we'll see. I think either way, I'm fine.
All right. I'm not sure either. I think I'm safe going second, but obviously I would love to go first and get some early Ancient Machinery points out of easy spots. And it looks like Necrons will be going first, so we'll be back after movement. So end of the Necron movement phase, which is actually going to be the end of my entire turn, I moved up to score a couple points. So here's what happened. During my command phase, I gave out 5 up invulns in the form of the 2 blue poker chips onto the scarab units. I gave out my +1 to hit from my Technomancer, which is a green poker chip, out to the scarab unit. And I gave the failsafe overcharger +1 to hit with the black poker chip also to the scarab unit, mostly because just wanted to dish them and give them out there. I had to spend a command point to advance the scarabs onto objective 2 so I could score Treasure of Aeons this turn. I started the, and also the mission secondary, because that scores at the end of the turn, correct? The additional mission secondary.
Yeah, who's doing that action?
That is the Chronomancer right back here. That's how he got a grudge token for doing the action and completing it. So I'm going to score 3 on the primary for the mission.
Yep.
The Psychomancer completes the action to send one of the Star Sleeves up into orbit, and that's going to be getting him a grudge token. These guys over here are starting Ancient Machineries on objective number 5, but holding as well objective marker 4 for Treasure of Aeons. So I'm going to get a 3 on Treasure, a 0 on Engage, a 3 on the Mission Primary, and nothing on Ancient Machineries yet because I hadn't completed it. A lot of information there. Hopefully that wasn't too hard to follow. But my entire turn was just that movement phase. And now we're going to go over to Votann, and they're going to start shooting at me. Into Lane's movement phase beforehand, he does have a redeploy that he's able to do a pregame shuffle with the bikes. And what he did was he pulled back. So right now, going into his movement phase, this is the position he's in, and going to be moving out from that. I do got to tell you, Lane, seeing the hackathons and the Jurassic Park shirt, I can't help but remember Jurassic Park 2, where they had the big Humvees that were coming in the middle of the, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, when they sent them all into the campsite.
Mm-hmm.
And then they created the campsite they were building a campsite, and they just came flying through and trashing everything. That's what I see every time a hackathon moves through Dexter. Is just the Jurassic Park scene where they're building a camp. And thank you. Your Jurassic Park shirt matches it so well. I think you have a theme here now, man.
I think we do.
Welcome to Votann Jurassic Park. So finishing up Votann movement phase, what do we got, Lane?
So I used the free teleport for these guys from the relic to jump them over here and put up a banner. They're inside the building, so the Hearthguard are not outside, they're inside.
But they can never do that again.
Yeah, they can only do that once per game. Move the Pioneers forward so they can hopefully clear some Scarabs. This Hackathon's got a line on those Scarabs. This Hackathon, it really has his options open depending on how much damage the other Hackathon the Pioneers do. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of shooting we do.
The nice thing is, even though the Hearthguard used that movement so early, is that you're going to have to, with Ancient Machineries and Treasures, that's a place where the game is going to end up going. So even though they have a slower move, they're probably going to get back into the game in some way, shape, or form.
Well, you took Engage, so you're going to put things close to me for the
That's correct.
Kill. And I'm trying to block out some deep strikes. Their relic gives them a 12-inch deep strike deny bubble, so it's going to make things a little harder. Actually, I probably want to adjust that a little bit.
All right, but then after that, where are we going to shoot first?
Yeah, let me adjust these Hearthguards. Sorry, coming through.
Not a problem. And then where do you think you're going first? You're going to take these.
I'm going to start with this Hackathon down here into these Scarabs. See what we can mess with.
That SP conversion beamer is like my nightmare for Scarabs, just because it picks up just the flat 4 is just too much.
Yeah, you failed every one of your 5-ups there. If you'd made a couple of those, that would have
might have been able to stick around. So we'll see if the dice come back as we're going over here. Who's shooting at my other Scarabs?
Split a little fire here, so I'm going to put 2 bolt cannons and the Magna Rail into that one.
One of the conversions?
Yeah.
Which one, back or front?
I guess the far one.
The far one, okay.
And then I'm going to put the auto cannon and 2 bolt cannons here. That'll be 12 shots. I think we're safe. Okay, that's all right.
So Votann, finish off, and do not clear the Scarabs, leaving me with 2 remaining. I was able to reanimate 2 of them and still move up to take that objective marker 4. And my Star Sleeve back here only took 2 damage as the Magna Rail missed. And it looks like we're going to be moving to the end of the Votann turn. But wait, there's one more dice roll. Anything but a 6, and then we score the turn. Anything but a 6.
Show me that 6.
Oh. That's a 4. Okay, so now let's just score out your turn. Lane, what do you got?
Not much. Instead of doing the action, I just raised banners here. So I didn't do the action for the bonus primary. What else did I take?
You took
banners, Lake Lamp. Yeah, so no prisoners. Killed 36 wounds there.
And then you did.
And then 20 wounds here.
Yes.
So 56. So it's 5 points really for no prisoners. I'm pretty sure we're going to max this out.
Yeah, that
today,
after.
But
yeah.
On a turn by turn, we'll keep track of it. But yeah, 5 points for no prisoners so far.
Cool. Awesome. And then you did get 1 banner put up this turn.
I put 2 up.
You put 2 up.
He put up this one here, and they put up that one.
All right. So now on to the Necron's turn 2. after a very, very, very technical Necron movement phase, which I do got to appreciate Lane for being patient with me with this new army, because there's a lot of little intricate stuff that I need to keep an eye on. You need to keep an eye on with Votann. These scarabs over here came out of Deep Strike, and they landed, and they had to stay 12 inches away from his Hearthkin.
I hear Hearthguard.
The Hearthguard, as well as avoid being within 12 inches of the Pioneers, and try to stay out of line of sight from the Hecaton and the damn conversion beamer. So we'll see if that worked. I think that he's going to be able to get there, but I'm going to make him have to move forward a bit to do so. Over here, I popped the Veil to move my spiders, who now have 5 up invul and upfield. I spent a command point to give these spiders +2 to their weapon skill, and +2 to their +2 up weapon skill, and +2 to their move for this turn. And the Chronomancer is going to start Ancient Machineries on that objective to try to clear that out. These scarabs fell back to get in the building and just hold that objective for me so I can keep scoring points. And my Chronomancer got another grudge token, as well as, we need to get a grudge token on the Psychomancer here, because he's going to send this Starsley into orbit. And I think we're going to get over to the shooting phase and start putting some...
And this guy dropped in too.
Spider shots. Oh, yes. I did have one Starsley. I dropped them over in the corner. Wasn't really any good places to put them with the terrain, but at least it gives me a engage unit for later in the game. And we'll see if I can't pick up engage this turn by maybe charging the spiders and consolidating through into the Pioneers. So we'll go over into shooting, and I'm going to put these spiders here directly into the Hecaton, and I'm going to spend a command point to give their guns AP2. So both squads of spiders put all their shots into the Hecaton. The first squad was on a +2 to hit, so they were still able to hit on 3s, +2 versus the -1. And I gave them AP2, so they were able to drop the Hecaton down to 10 wounds, which is nice. He doesn't have anyone nearby to heal, as well as he couldn't ignore any of the wounds, so that's happy. And we're going to go over into the assault steps. So the spiders up in front are going to charge the Pioneers, and Lane is going to overwatch me. So you have the rotary cannon. Which ones you do it first?
We're doing auto cannons first. These are 2 damage, because they're 6 wounds apiece, right?
They are 6 wounds apiece on a 5 up invul, and if that matters.
You don't have any judgment tokens on you.
No, I do not.
So 6 is hit, but I do
have done absolutely nothing wrong to you.
They should get a judgment token just for charging me.
No.
How dare you?
We're friendly. We're your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
That's not a great start. All right, strike 7.
That's
so
a
3
wonderful start.
Okay, so you got 3 -1, -1, 2 damage apiece.
3 -1. Okay. Do I get cover? Because I got one guy in cover. Do you still
We
get
ignore
cover in
cover.
Overwatch? You ignore it? Okay, so it doesn't matter. Good question for that, though. So 3 -1, so 4 ups. 2 damage, you said?
Yeah.
That'll take nothing. All that.
I really wanted to get one of them.
I really don't want to lose any of them. So what do we got?
Spurt gun. Oh, jeez.
This is the rotary.
These are the rotaries.
Still got shotguns too, right?
Yeah.
But
the rotaries are strength 6. They'll be 4s to wound. Yeah.
All right.
So these are all hits. 4s to wound. Looks like you only got 3. These are -2.
All right, put me on a 5 up now. So I'll stop 1. Damage 1?
Yeah.
All right, so 2. So one guy has 4 left.
2, 4, 6, 8.
Sorry.
12.
And
12
then,
shotgun shots.
Yep.
Ooh, no hits there. And then
these are nothing.
Those are after dice. You can get them out of there. 3 hits, but these are only strength 5, so I'm gonna need 5s to wound you.
1 hits home.
1, -1.
All right. Saved it. All right, so I don't lose any spiders, and we're gonna charge 6 inches.
Yeah,
that should be enough. So really tried to make it happen to see if I could get some engagement off these guys by charging the other side of the Pioneers. There was literally no way that I was going to be able to, because if after the spiders killed the Pioneers, if they tried to consolidate, they would end up having to move closer to the Hecaton on a model-to-model basis. So I really tried to make it happen, wasn't able to. So instead, I'm just going to kill the Pioneers and file into the Hecaton. So I will spend a command point on the Novak Dynasty strat to give me +1 attack. The Cryptek, Cult of Cryptek gives me an additional +1 attack. So I'm at 7 attacks apiece. And then the Failsafe Overcharger gives me +D3 attacks. So we're looking at 1 additional attack. So I'm looking at 8 attacks per spider. They will be hitting on 2s because I use that silly stratagem. And I think that's about it. Lane, what do you think?
Strength 8?
Strength 9 because I have the
It's still gonna be 3s to 1.
protocol. What's your toughness?
5.
Hold on. So as
10?
Lane was checking, as Lane was telling me, these guys are T5. So I am going to spend a command point on Dispersion Field to give them +1 strength, so they go to strength 9. And then because of my Hungry Void, they will still get +1 strength there too, so they're on a strength 10. So they will be hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, 8 attacks apiece.
Oh, all spiders must die.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 8 attacks apiece, hitting on 2s, no rerolls, wounding on 2s, no rerolls. So got a couple 1s in there. Anything else you see? I think I'm good. I think I'm good. 1s are good.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. And wounding on 2s.
You're so giddy.
Oh, I'm so happy right now. These spiders are so mean. And yes, I know I don't get the dynastic code for these guys, but I am still Novak. So for my command protocol, I will still get both of the buffs. So these ones here, I think you're all on invuln anyways, aren't you?
If it's more than AP1, yes.
It's AP. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 wounds on your invuln. And they are 2 damage apiece.
Here come all the 5s.
Yay. It's not a lot of 5s. A couple heads.
So. Not too bad, actually. You still like the squad, but 1 bike, 2 bike, 3 bike, 4 bike, 5 bike, 6 bike. Exactly.
Nice. Finishing out the Necron turn, I was able to pile into Hecaton, and Hecaton actually got angry and smacked me with one of its guns and wounded a spider, so I dropped him down to 3. And as for the rest of it, we just called this a turn. So for Treasure of Aeons, I have 2 objectives, so I will score another 3 on that. For Ancient Machineries, I completed the one at the beginning of the turn, so I scored 4, and my Chronomancer started the second one. Hasn't completed yet because he's not objective secured. And I did not get anything for Engage, but I do score 3 points for the mission primary because I hold 3 objectives and complete the action. So not a bad turn. 1 squad of Pioneers off the field. Hecaton's locked in combat with me, so he's going to have to shoot at those spiders. And we're going to move on to the Votann movement phase. Going into the Votann movement phase. Lane, making you think.
Yeah, a lot of thinking going on. I brought in these guys, Pioneers here, so they can start shooting some stuff. Hecaton is here, not moving. He's going to just shoot into combat. This Hecaton disgorged its berserks to move up there and get on that objective so they can charge the scarabs if they need to, but we're going to put some shots from the Hecaton and from these Hearthguard who moved upstairs so they can see things and get some shots in there. And we just tried to block out as much as we could. Still 1
squad of Pioneers in reserve.
Right. Still saving some for later.
All right. So look, the Hecaton shooting first.
Yeah, I'm going to start with this Hecaton. I'm going to, because this has a judgment token for 1 CP, I'm going to give full rerolls to hit against them.
Ooh.
For 1 CP, I can just make the Magna Rail hit also. So I'm spending 2 CP. So the Magna Rail hits.
And then all you need.
I'm not going to do the Magna Rail yet because they got something with 3 wounds on it.
All right.
So I'm going to save that. I'm going to do some of the other shots first.
All right. We'll see how this rolls out. So end of the shooting phase, which is also the end of the Votann turn, the Pioneers were able to pick up the Chronomancer that was hanging out here behind the wall. So I won't get my Ancient Machineries. That will not complete. And the Scarabs in the middle got picked up by, well, everything over there. So at Votann score, you got 2...
In the beginning of the turn, I only got 4 for primaries because I was only on 2. I did score 2 points for the bonus primary because I got these 2. I scored 2 points for banners at the beginning of the turn because I got 2 banners up. And then I got 40 wounds worth of scarabs because I killed 9, but also 1 reanimated. So another 4 points on no prisoners. And that's it. Late claims end of game.
So, all right, now it's time for the Necrons to answer back. So playing it a little risky, I'm gonna go into this with no CP since I haven't been able to generate one off my Psychomancer. And we are going to start by doing Ancient Machineries with the Scarabs on this objective we've been trying to get to all game. Spiders move up. Spiders have all the buffs, as well as the 2 weapon skill 2 up and the +2 to their move. And going over here, we have the Wraiths flying up to attempt to charge the Berserkers. And then my Necron Warriors, my 2 10-mans, came in from Strategic and are going to try and pepper the Hearthkin in the building. So let's get over to the shooting phase and see if I can't pick up some of these Votann scum. Warriors and Spiders were able to pick up 2 of the Hearthguard.
I rolled too many 1s.
Yeah, I love it. And over here, we only picked up 1 Pioneer Bike off the Spiders going in there. But I didn't have the CP to give him the AP to really boost him. And Lane was able to make a -1 to hit as well with a strat. So it was a whole bunch of math on the hit rolls.
+2 to hit and -2 to hit.
So I did end up, as soon as I finished, I talked with Lane about it and I looked at it and I thought about the numbers on what we were talking about with these charges. And I decided to forego the +2 move, +2 weapon skill, and instead pull the Spiders back 2 inches and save the CP in case I need a reroll, because there's a lot of other possibilities that could go wrong. And I really, really need to like hit this charge on these berserks over here and things like that. So we're going to go to the charge step and we'll see what we can make happen. And on that note, the Necrons end up failing all of their charges. This is going to be a very, very rough follow-up turn. I have Inbones, and I'm hopefully going to be able to inch forward and maybe snag some objectives, but this is the lashback from the Votann might be a little too much for me.
There's still a lot of wounds over here.
There is still a lot of wounds.
I'm going to do damage, but I can't ace that whole side of the board.
There is still a lot of wounds. I'm concerned I wasn't able to push that engage. That's going to be the rough point. Not getting that engage on all fronts, not being able to push that for now 3 turns is rough. I do still continue with the treasure, at least getting 2 points on that this turn for the 1 objective. And I was able to start the Ancient Machineries, and I'm going to hope that those Scarabs might just fall down the priority chain and be able to stick around for a little bit longer. We'll see how that goes. So I get 1 for the priority mission because I have the 1 objective outside of the deployment zone. And we're going to move on to Votann turn. So guys rooting for the Necrons, let's just hope the 4-up invulns be true and reanimations be right. All right, so the Votann are bringing in as much as it over here as they can to try and clear it out. But we know Necrons, we know the 4-up invuln. They're going to need to. I'm going to have some stuff left at the end of this turn, so it's going to be a question of what and where the dice hit for me. You know, a couple good reanimations, and it could really, really mess with this day and get me to creep up on that objective. Over here, I can't say quite the same. The Spiders are really tough on the 5-up invuln, but basically I got to hope that Hecaton just whiffs. I have to hope that Hecaton just does not have a good day and fails at everything. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble. Even so, with the Pioneers on the 2 damage, could probably clean up. So we'll just have to see how that all plays out and see if I have anything left over there at the end of this turn. All right, so as expected, the Votann cleared out the Scarabs as well as the Spiders. The Technomancer did fall as well because he split fired into him, and just for speed, I rolled to see if he would stand back up at the end of the phase, and he did with regaining 3 wounds.
Oh, that did spend your last CP.
It did spend my last CP. Oh, and he actually gained 3 wounds.
3. Yeah.
And now we're going to move over here. So the Hecaton is actually targeting these Spiders in the back.
Yeah, I'm going to use the SP conversion beamer to target these Spiders, so it hits the Spiders, the Wraiths, and the Wraiths. All the rest of the shots are going to go into the near set of Wraiths here, but because these are more than 15 inches away, each hit counts as 2. So it's just going to generate more hits than if I just target the closer one. Obviously, but I'm getting extra hits on the extra units. But there's a lot of invulns in here, so it might not do as much as I had hoped. We'll see.
Okay, so we're looking at so you're going to need to hit on the spiders first, right? And this is what you spent some CP on the strat?
Yeah, I'm doing the mortal wound strat, so each hit with a conversion beamer on the primary target generates a mortal wound. And again, each hit that I get counts as 2. And I'm hitting on 2s because of he got +1 from the Forge Master. Okay, so we got 2 hits on the spiders.
Okay.
That's going to generate to 4 hits.
Okay.
On the spiders, 4 hits on both sets of wraiths. And there's already 4 mortal wounds on the spiders. So this is strength 8. I need 3s to wound them. So you got 3 at -3 on the spiders. Right, so I don't think they have an invuln, do they?
No, but they'll 3-up save, so 6s.
6s, okay.
Okay, so I'll stop one of them.
Okay.
Damage.
These are flat 4 apiece.
Okay, so you'll finish off the spider with the mortal. Oh, no, wait. Damage is first, right?
Damage is first.
So this will both get soaked up and take out 1 spider, and then they'll put 4 mortal wounds onto 1. So 1 spider will have 2 wounds remaining.
Yep.
And now the wraiths. So
and now the next first, wraiths.
So do the clawed wraiths then first, the 5-man.
Sure. The clawed wraiths, then it's 4 hits, so 3s to wound again. So 3 more. And then you got your 4.
That's on my invuln, though.
Yeah.
Okay. Saves them all.
Oh, yeah, jerk.
And
then the other wraiths need 3s. Once again, get 3. Stop rolling those 4s for me.
I'll stop 1, so 2 will go through, so that'll take...
It's 4 apiece.
4 apiece, so you'll actually take out 2 wraiths there.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll leave this here for a second for ease of a couple of things.
Dumb.
We did the reanimation rolls. The spider failed, but on the wraiths, I ended up rolling and getting 4 of them. And then I got a reroll for my protocol and a reroll for rerolling ones. And boom, 0 of the wraiths died. So now we'll move on to the rest of the Hecaton shooting.
We're getting Necron.
Love it. Love it.
Autocannons going into the near wraiths.
No markers. Yep. No grudge. Yeah.
3s to wound you. So you got 4, -2, 2 damage apiece.
4 up invulns. I'll save 3 of them. So 1 go through 2 damage?
Yeah.
All right, so he's at 1.
Well, this is not going really well.
This is going great.
You're all sad because you failed your charges.
I know, right? I gotta have the faith in the 4-up invulns on the wraiths. I gotta give that faith. There's a reason why I take them is because of the invulns for things like this. How many?
It's 5 wounds.
5. 5 ups again.
2 damage.
All right, so we'll stop 3 of them. And this is 2 damage, you said?
Yeah. So what did I kill 1?
You got 1 wraith, and then 1 has 1 wound left. And
all right,
that's it for the shooting?
Yeah.
All right, so the one that dies, I get to reroll 1 dice, but that's not enough. Yeah, so he'll stay bye-bye. Votann shooting phase end. We got 2 wraiths left in the squad here. The other one is still at full after some awesome reanimation rolls. Spiders, they vanished off the field, but it took quite a bit of soak. They soaked up a little bit of fire. And the first 10-man warrior squad went bye-bye. So now you're gonna charge me with the berserks?
Yeah, berserks charging. Looks like they need like a 4. They get free rerolls on their charges. So
yeah, so they're probably in.
7 will do.
7 will do. All right. So now I'm starting to kind of feel this might have been a misplay, looking at how I spent the CP. I probably should have let the Technomancer go, even though he's my warlord, because that pulled the vote, allowed the Votann to charge and the Pioneers to take the objective from me. Although the Technomancer lived, he's not really going to be able to do very much, because if he falls back, it's not a good position for him to be. So it probably would have been best just to let him go. And then I could have saved that CP to spend over here for the berserks to try to fight on death with the 3 wraiths and potentially cleared all of those guys out of there, or at least done enough damage that my warriors could have shot down and finished. So that's something I'm going to keep in note, is not to jump the gun to keep the Technomancer alive in this list. Lane, what'd you get for scoring?
So my call did the action here. I control 3 objectives, so I get 3 on the bonus primary. Oh, we didn't talk. I killed a whole bunch of wounds.
You're at 15.
Yeah,
you definitely cleared that because you got the 10 on the warriors alone, and then with all the scarabs reanimating plus the wraiths.
Yeah. Beginning of the turn, I got 2 for banners. Late claims end of game, so that's where we're at right now.
All right, Necron, see if they can fight back. Not much for the Necron movement phase. The Wraiths jump over and are going to have to try and clear some of the shooting targets that have a lot more pressing firepower out of me. And the Warriors are going to have to try and shoot down the Berserk so I don't lose too many in a fight on death if I have to go that way to take the objective. Haven't quite decided yet how I want to play that. I got a couple of options. Over here, I broke off with the Technomancer to run into the corner, so at least I can hold this objective for my the bonus primary. And I brought down the Convergence over here to try and put some random shots into these bikes and see if I can't pick some up, because don't really have a space to get him anywhere else for like engage on all fronts. And I sent the last Starsley into orbit, so we'll see how that works out for me. Going over into my shooting phase. All right, not much us shooting. The Convergence were able to take out one of the bikes. And over here, the Warriors were able to take out one of the Berserks and wound a guy. So we're going to go into our charge phase. I need to take a second and think about how I want to do this. So finished out the assault and charges and everything. The Wraiths were able to pick up one Hearthguard Warrior and take out 3 of the bikes. Hey, is that a leadership for you?
Yes.
Yes, 3 died. So you have
Leadership 8. Yeah. So if I roll 6, that's a 3.
Can't roll a 6 when I need you to. So over here, the Technomancer getting on the objective is going to allow me to get 2 for the bonus primary, since I got that one, and I control this one with my objective secured Warriors. And the Wraiths were able to punch a hole in some of the shooting over here, but they're going to be able to fall back and still shoot, which is going to be rough. At least I was able to eliminate some of the shooting, but that Hecaton looks hecka angry. So we'll see.
I owe you a leadership here on the.
Oh, there is.
Again, leadership 8. So if I roll 6, fail.
No, 3 couldn't do it for me. All right, so I was able to finally score my first engage points for 2 points. I got 2 on the bonus primary, 2 on Treasure of Aeons, and was not able to get the Ancient Machinery completed because the Scarabs died. So we'll move over to the vote in the Votann turn 4. Turn 4. So Votann movement was a lot shorter than I was expecting. The fell back, spent the command point for the fall back and shoot. And then over here, just kind of wiggled to get ready. I'm thinking maybe doing some rock shooting after the Technomancer dies, probably.
Yeah, I mean, that's the plan. You can't bring him back again, right? So.
Nope, I have 1 left in reserve that's going to drop next turn, and that's going to be the end of it. So, all right, that was it for the movement, and we'll see what Votann can put down numbers-wise in the shooting phase. And with that, the Necrons are basically tabled. I have a little bit of stuff I'm going to do to try and score out some final points in my turn, but for the most part, there's nothing left on the field except for some Technomancers, and I got 1 more rock in reserve. I lost a rock to the Hecaton from the Magna Rail.
Magna Rail.
Other one survived with 2 wounds left. I'll go up to 3 into my turn. And everyone died over here. The Warriors, the Wraiths, everyone just got gunned down. So we're going to see if there's any last little points I can score before the sweep. But the last turn is probably just going to be mostly talked out and just figuring out what can be scored. All right, so the Chronomancer charged and was able to survive, which basically was just to get me engaged. Tried to beat up on these bikes just because, and I was successful. Dropped them down got 2 out of there. The Convergence actually hit their, landed home and hit their mark. And that's going to get me 2 on engage, and that's pretty much going to be it. I'm not going to get any of the other points. I'm not going to get any treasures. Not going to get any of the mission primaries. And what was my other secondary that I was trying to get?
Ancient. Engage treasure
ancient. I'm not going to get that either. So this
didn't do the action.
It came out the gate strong with a lot of good secondaries, but kind of piddled off to the end. And that's conversation point about the Convergence, them having to stay 3 inches away from terrain. Yeah, and I know there's some questions. I'm going to bring that up in the post game about why they had to stay 3 inches away from terrain. So that kind of hurt. I don't really feel that with the engage. Lane, how are you finishing off your turn 5? There's not really very much you need to do.
Yeah, I just need to get my lay claim objectives.
Mm-hmm.
So only the shenanigans are going to be we get over here.
You even need to do that. You just fall back with the berserk.
What's that?
Just fall
Yeah.
back with the berserk. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess he's not within 3.
Currently with my push, I hold 0 objectives, so you can lose that object. Yeah. Even if you give me that objective in your turn.
Yeah. My
You
call
just
for 1
need to hold
CP will
2.
teleport here, and she will put up a banner. So I get 2 points for banners at the beginning of turn, and it just gives me 1 extra banner up for the end of game. So I get 3 banners at end of turn.
Right. And then you'll get your 15 on your lay claim.
Yep.
Because there's nothing that's stopping you there. And you get the 12 on primary. You can start the secondary and score 4-3 on the tertiary primary. And that's really it. What was your other one? Oh, yeah, it's already at 15.
Yeah, no prisoners. Definitely no prisoners left on the board.
All right. Well, we'll be back with the score, but that's definitely looking like a Votann win. All right. So final score, Votann 96, Necrons 53. Now, before we start talking about the recap, there is something very important I want to bring up in here. This was something I wanted to try with the convergence because I heard a lot of people talking about engage on all fronts, and with the change, it getting a little bit smaller to be able to get in 4 table quarters, that the convergence had a good play into this. I don't honestly see it, and this is something I might cover in a later video.
Yeah.
But there's 2 points I want to bring up real quick and do a little rule thing into this. So number 1 in point 11 on page 10, and I'm looking at the Arc of Omens book. Paragraph 2 of point 11 states, unless otherwise stated, when setting up a model from a unit with the fortification battlefield role, it cannot be placed within 3 inches of any other terrain feature. So now that's deployment setup. When we go over to page 137, reposition and replacement units in the advanced rules section, bullet point 1 says rules that are triggered by or apply to units that are set up on the battlefield as reinforcements are also triggered and applied to that unit when it is set up on the battlefield. So from what I've seen and from Death or Glory and everyone locally around, that with all the GTs I've been to from here and 3 states over, that means that the convergence cannot be placed within 3 inches of any terrain when it deep strikes back in. Now, if in your meta, if your TOs have ruled that differently, then good on you, that could probably work. But looking at it in the tournament circuit that I play in, it's not, I don't see it, and I don't think it's going to be efficient enough to run the convergence and be able to do that.
You probably couldn't see it in today's video because we didn't really show the movement phases, but there was a lot of trying to find places to place those convergences to get engaged in all fronts and to get into my deployment zone and that sort of thing. And then even with both of us working trying to figure it out, it was rarely a possibility just because I had some deep strike deny with the Hearthguard. They have the 12-inch deep strike bubble, but then just the terrain pieces being in the way, not being able to deploy within 3 inches of them was a huge hindrance to him.
Right. And I mean, no damage. There's no damage output on them. There's not really anything extra they're going to bring to the table for. I mean, yeah, they popped off some bikes. I mean, they killed some bikes.
2 gut bikes, yeah.
They did.
That happened.
Did that.
Yep.
But ultimately, that's 80 points that I could slide somewhere else. That I could do something else with that, and not only the 80 points there, but the Psychomancer that I kind of put in there just to as well do that to kind of fill a couple voids. I mean, that could have been a couple more wraiths.
Mm-hmm.
That could have been a few more wraiths. And it could, I mean, I could go into a Doomstalker for some damage, but I just look at armies that can shoot back, such as Votann, and unless I dedicate so heavy into shooting, I don't think it's worth it. There's a 1 command point stratagem that lets me move and shoot the Doomstalker, but I almost look at that and go, why do I have to spend CP on this?
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of that part of it. I'm not a fan of the convergence. Though I think those things not there.
Well, in deployment, they were kind of neat because you essentially created a wall, so I couldn't see some of your stuff. You had your own terrain. That was kind of handy. I don't know if it's worth 80 points, but it was good.
That might be to be able to stop that and do that in that sense and put them out there as roadblocks in a way, but not playing off the engage. Maybe go back into my Purge of Vermin. Purge of Vermin, we were discussing this between turns. I would have had 6 points going into 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 6 points going into 3 because 2 and 2, and I would have been able to do that. And even into later turns, there was a lot of times you weren't in the deployment zone. So I would have still gotten points off that and been able to generate some stuff moving forward into that. So generally not
And
sure.
you only got 4 off of engage the whole
I only
game
got 4
today.
off engage the whole entire game. Where I would have been on 6 on 3, it could have moved the needle a little bit more. Now, with that being said, looking at the cult of Cryptek as a whole, I kind of want to give this thing a second try. Where the Destroyer cult, I was kind of wrote off on, and it's not necessarily sour into it, but I was concerned when we started talking about we're talking about lack of an invuln. And I felt like that was a big thing of it. Lack of invuln, lack of invuln. This, I had the invuln, and it showed, especially with the race, that I was able to make that happen. So I'm not completely sold off of this yet. This was the first time running it. I think I spent my CP poorly, very, very poorly.
Yeah.
I probably got a little too excited to overload the spiders, and there's probably a couple times I could have done things a little bit differently with that. But I'm not completely sold off on that. What are your impressions?
Oh yeah, I mean, we were just talking about this at the end of the game. This is my tournament list that I've been tuning for months now, and this is something you're trying. You know, this list is something you're trying this Army of Renown for the first time. So it's not a real fair matchup in terms of just the fact that I have tuned my list in pretty tight, and so I think it's definitely worth it to explore a little bit more. Your
And the
presence
Army of
of
Renowns do kind of handicap you as well, too.
yeah. They definitely present challenges as well as the benefits and the buffs they give. But I think the invuln was definitely making a difference today. The Destroyer cult, I felt like I could cut through them pretty quickly.
Right, right.
This, it took me a little longer. There's still a couple models on the table, but the invulns made a big difference. I know at one point in one shooting phase, those wraiths just tanked a ton of shots, especially when the beam weapon cut across 3 units. It really didn't do very much damage because you're just the 4-ups were
and failing the 6s on the charges was critical. Had the 6s had I not failed those, and there's still a question of where, because having the reroll and having the +2 move would have put the spiders into the hackathon. And if the spiders kill the hackathon, now the pioneers have to clear the spiders, the scarabs, the technomancer. And I don't necessarily think they had enough there to be able to clear all of that in the speed that they would have needed to push across the field.
Right. Yeah, it definitely would have been a different game if those things happened differently. But like you said, you could have used that. If you had one more CP, it would have made a difference because you could have had the extra 2 inches of movement and the reroll.
And that's where I think it comes into is where was the CP management off into that? And, also at the same time, too, I can pull the convergence off the field and put something else in instead. So I wouldn't mind looking at this thing again, but I still feel like generally my, as I call it, the canoptic harvest with my CTAN, I still feel like that one I got the stronger play. I feel like the CTAN presents something that this army lacked in kind of that damage output, the reliable damage. And for right now, I think that I'm still going to be pushing with that. This was an interesting list. I'm going to work with this a little bit more and see if maybe there's something here with the Army of Renown. We haven't seen, I don't think there's really been too many outside the Death Watch one that have really had any success.
AdMax one for a while.
Yes, the veteran cohort. The veteran cohort was
the Orc
huge.
one, the Speedwog.
That one did well.
Yeah, the buggy one with all the buggies.
Okay.
It went away after a while. They nerfed it eventually, but yeah.
But yeah, no, so I'm going to look at that a little bit more, but we're starting to get to the point of I'm going to start looking for a GT to go to. And I want to get into something here soon. So it's going to be a question of locking in a list. And I think after this one, the time that I would need to possibly tool it, my Canoptic Harvest is already there. So I think that it's going to be time to throw that on the table a little bit, see how that's gone. I've been really geared in well with, so I think it's time to bring the bad boy list back out on the table.
Yeah.
Bring the nasty, bring the big nasty, and see what I can make that happen. Void Dragon punching hackathons and all that stuff. So
I know with my list, that's the one that gave me the most trouble. So that's definitely, I think, the one more worth exploring. But then again, that's just against my particular army. So. And
I made some tweaks to it that I've yet to see the table. And seeing what some things of what the Warriors could do is kind of a little bit of a glimpse of into the future. So I think that think that I'm going to be pushing forward with the Cryptek list, and this one's going to kind of just sit there for a minute. I'm going to look at this and see about getting ready, because I'd need a couple more wraiths. If I go into that route of, I do have one fast attack spot open. I could go into more wraiths, and I think that might be the direction to go over the convergence.
Oh, with this list?
Yeah, drop the convergence and just more wraiths.
You're already giving up no prisoners. You drop a character and then assassinate doesn't even make sense. And if you're giving up no prisoners, might as well.
Yep. Just take the convergence out for 80 points, drop the Psychomancer for another 65, and start filling out wraiths. Yeah. Start bulking up on wraiths. So, all right, Mr. Lane, thank you again.
Sure thing.
And we will see. Yeah, we will see if we can't get you out here with the get the Cryptek back out there for round 2 with you. Make sure I haven't taught you how to beat Necrons too well now. Maybe, right. maybe I need to play a new army.
Right,
guys, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and stay tuned for more battle reports. Thank you.